This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. When Yunxiao took the small box from Emo Xiaochuan's hand, his pupils constricted. He saw that the item in the box was as green as bamboo and as thick as a finger. It was emitting a warm green light and had a threatening spirit energy. What a strong second-wood energy! Yunxiao cried out in surprise. It's close to the origin. This thing should be a wood elemental supreme treasure. If sect leader Zhang left it to cultivate the lightning transformation divine technique, it would definitely be twice the result with half the effort, yet you're actually willing to give it up? Zhang Linghua snorted. This is the heart-cleansing sandalwood that the North Scorpion sect planted in large numbers. It was planted for the sake of cultivating the lightning transformation skill. However, after the divine art was lost, the clear heart sandalwood was also cut down and the planting method was also lost. Now, he could only find some in the vault. The one in young Master Yun's hand is one of the few heart-cleansing sandalwood. Although it's not a lot, with young Master Yun's experience, you should be able to understand its value. Yunxiao was shocked as he said in horror, plant a large amount of this type of e-wood? The Northern Scorpion sect is actually this powerful. This kind of wood element that approached the origin, although it couldn't compare to 10th tier existences like the Phoenix Divine Flame, it was still comparable to 9th tier heaven and earth treasures. And 9th grade items were all born by gathering the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, so it was impossible to cultivate them. Throughout history, a large number of alchemists had tried to cultivate it artificially, but all of them had failed. Zhang Linghua seemed to have found a trace of confidence and said proudly, when the North Scorpion sect dominated the continent, even the 7 superpowers could not catch up with them. How could you know about it? Yunxiao carefully put away the piece of heart-cleansing sandalwood and did not make things difficult for Zhang Linghua anymore. I'll take this. Back then, I helped your junior brother assassinate Elder Feng, and later, I gave him the map. But your junior brother only gave a verbal promise that I haven't seen a single primeval stone. Sect leader Zhang, give me another 10 billion medial-grade primordial stones, and this wooden puppet will be yours. Yunxiao took out the little man who had inherited the thunder transformation divine technique and showed it to everyone. Zhang Linghua's pupils contracted, and his heart thumped. Even he could not help but get excited when he was so close to the thunder transformation skill. But when he thought of Yunxiao's words, he still said angrily, young Master Yun, don't go too far. He didn't even mind giving the money for the treasure map to him, but he even asked for the money for Elder Feng's assassination. If he gave it to him, what kind of gaze would the people under his sect look at him with? The fact that Tandijuan had been acquitted and promoted to the position of vice sect master had already caused many people to criticize and be secretly dissatisfied. Emo Xiaochuan snorted coldly. A deal is a deal that both parties are willing to make. The lightning transformation divine technique is in young Master Yun's hands. He can sell it however he wants. If you're not happy with it, you can choose not to buy it. But please don't waste our time, we still need to teleport to Yufeng City. A sense of powerlessness rose in Zhang Linghua's heart. With this inexplicable martial emperor here, Yunxiao would never suffer a loss. Moreover, when he saw Emo Huayuan following closely behind Yunxiao in the crowd, as if he were following his lead, he was even more bewildered. Master Emo, are you also leaving Southfire City? That's right, Emo Huayuan nodded. Thank you for taking care of me all these years, Sect Master Zhang. I've finished my business in Southfire City and am about to return to the Holy Region to report to my master. I happen to be on the same path as young Master Yun, so I'm planning to travel together. He paused for a moment before continuing, Sect leader Zhang, since the lightning transformation divine skill is your sect's treasure, its value is naturally limitless. Since the sect master had even taken out the 9th grade Imu, why would he care about a mere 10 billion mid-grade primordial stones? It's up to young Master Yun whether he wants these vitality stones or not, but sect leader's lightning transformation divine skill must be obtained. It seems that sect leader Zhang doesn't have much room to bargain about this. Emo Huayuan had stayed in Southfire City for many years, and the Big Dipper sect had naturally treated him like a distinguished guest. They had provided him with a lot of help, and Mo Huayuan was extremely grateful. But when it came to Yunxiao, the mysterious young man who had saved his brother's life, he naturally sided with the latter. Zhang Linghua could also hear the favoritism in his words, and he was even more afraid of Yunxiao's identity. So, he could only admit defeat and say, "All right, since Master Mo has said so, if I continue to be entangled with you for a mere 10 billion primeval stones, it would seem that I, Zhang Linghua, am stingy." Young Master Yun, he snorted coldly. "I'll do as you wish for Master Mo's sake." With a wave of his hand, he threw over a storage bag full of vitality stones. Everyone knew that he was trying to give himself a way out, but no one dared to mock or ridicule him. They were not qualified to participate in this kind of conversation between experts. Mo Xiaochuan took the storage bag and checked that there was no problem with it before he handed it over to Yunxiao, which made Zhang Linghua so angry that he was fuming. However, after obtaining the lightning transformation divine technique, all of his gloominess was swept away. He couldn't help but look excited, and he even wanted to laugh out loud. On the other hand, the faces of Gao Lin and the other members of the Chamber of Commerce all darkened. After Zhang Linghua obtained the deity tier spiritual art, coupled with the support of the Big Dipper sect's resources, his strength would probably reach a new level very soon. If no strong reinforcements entered Southfire City, their Chamber of Commerce's power would probably be suppressed for the next few hundred years. It's getting late. Young Master Yun, everyone, please enter the battle. Gao Lin was an old fox, after all. Although he was extremely dissatisfied with the deal, he would not show it to Yunxiao. He still kept a smile on his face, full of flattery. Just as everyone was about to enter the formation, Meidong suddenly called out from within the Big Dipper sect, "Young Master Yun, I'm also going to Yufeng City. Can you take me with you?" Yunxiao asked in surprise. "Oh. Dong. Why did you go to Yufeng City? Staying in the Big Dipper sect to cultivate to a higher realm is what you should be doing." Mei Dong's face turned red, and she was about to explain. Yingrong also stood up and explained on her behalf, "Young Master Yun, Dong's home is in Yufeng City. She's been away from home for quite a few years, and she told me about her return this time. I'm worried about letting her go home alone, so I wanted to escort her personally. But if I can travel with you, Young Master Yun, I will have nothing to worry about." "I see, then let's go together." Yunxiao readily agreed, and Mei Dong happily walked up to the array and stood with the others. Han Xian, who was outside the formation, felt her heart ache. She knew that she was jealous, so she scolded him in her heart, "Silly girl, what kind of person is Young Master Yun? It's already fate to be able to meet and part with him, so what more do you want? Just focus on running your Chamber of Commerce." Although she comforted herself like this, she still couldn't help but feel disappointed, and even her nose felt a little sour. "Young Master Yun, this scented sachet is for you. It's made from the powder ground from the true dragon's saliva and the heavenly treasure, azure thunder fruit, as well as more than 30 kinds of spices. Young Master Yun, it should be able to ward off evil with you, and it'll be of great benefit to your cultivation." Han Xian suddenly mustered up the courage from somewhere, took off the fragrance pouch from her waist, walked into the formation, and handed it over with both hands. Yunxiao was taken aback for a moment, then he grabbed it with a smile and said, "Thank you very much. We'll meet again in the future. I look forward to our next meeting." Han Xian felt a little better when she saw his subordinate's face turn red. When he heard the other party say, "Goodbye," he felt sad again. He held back his tears and said, "I hope we won't be meeting for too long. I'll be waiting for the good news from Songyue City, Young Master Yun." Yunxiao held the sachet, and a refreshing fragrance spread out in the array, making everyone feel relaxed and happy. "I'm sure Young Master Yun can understand President Han Xuan's intentions," Gao Lin said with a smile. "The formation has started operating. Please come back." All the people present were old foxes, and they naturally understood Han Xuan's good impression of Yunxiao, so they all smiled and said nothing. Han Xuan's face was extremely red, and she hurriedly ran down in embarrassment and anger. The array operated slowly under Yinglin's control, and soon, several beams of light shot out of it and shone into the sky like colorful clouds. Yunxiao and the others gradually became blurry in the array, and finally disappeared. As soon as Yunxiao and the others left, everyone suddenly felt a chill in their hearts, as if they had felt a cold wind blowing at them, and they could not help but shiver. Zhang Linghua's expression instantly turned cold. He stared at Gao Lin with a bone-chilling gaze and said in a deep voice, "President Gao, you were talking a lot of nonsense just now." Gao Lin gritted his teeth, resisting the pressure from Zhang Linghua. "Sect leader Zhang, I'm just speaking from the bottom of my heart. Isn't it great that both you and young Master Yun have what you need and are happy?" "Humph, what a good, everyone is happy." Zhang Linghua retracted her aura and said, "I can't be bothered to argue with you. How about this, the newly discovered or vein in the death zone is located in such a dangerous place. Your strength is limited, and you haven't touched it for so many years. Then my Big Dipper sect will reluctantly take over and mine it." "What?" Gao Lin was shocked, and his face turned ashen with anger. "Sect leader Zhang, you've gone too far. Even if it's the Heavenly Scorpion sect or the New Moon sect, would they agree to it?" Zhang Linghua laughed, "You don't have to worry about this, President Zhou. I've already discussed with Li Fengyu and Xiao Minghui. In addition to making a deal with Yunxiao, I've come to Southfire City this time to inform you, President Min." Gao Lin and the other members of the Chamber of Commerce were all filled with righteous indignation, but under the pressure of Zhang Linghua's emperor aura, none of them could move. Zhang Linghua said coldly, "I'm only informing you because I think highly of you. This land of death has already been designated as a forbidden area of the Big Dipper sect. Anyone who trespasses will be killed without mercy." Under Zhang Linghua's lead, the Big Dipper sect turned into a ray of light and left, leaving only the sound of laughter in the courtyard. Han Xian looked at the others, feeling disinterested as if she was missing something. She gazed at the empty teleport formation, sighed, and left. She knew that Southfire City was about to enter another period of turmoil after 100 years of peace. Perhaps Southfire City was no longer suitable for the Purple Cloud Trade Union. Now, all her energy was focused on recapturing the market that she had lost and then meeting the person she wanted to meet. Yunxiao and the others felt the surrounding space constantly changing, and a dark passage stretched into the endless distance. They could not see or hear, but they could sense with their divine sense that the people around them were also moving forward at a rapid speed. Soon, a beam of light appeared and the black space was opened. Everyone fell out. It wasn't very high up from the ground, and everyone was standing firmly on the ground. Only little Xuanzi let out a miserable cry as he fell to the ground in pain, but no one paid any attention to him. He hurriedly stood up and patted his butt. They landed on an empty field and a rich old man slowly walked towards them. He cupped his fists and smiled, "Welcome, my friends. I am Chu Sheng, the president of the Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce in Yufeng City. I have received a letter from President Gao Lin saying that a good friend of the Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce is about to be teleported here, and he asked me to receive him." His eyes swept over the few people one by one, but he did not notice anything wrong. It was only when his gaze swept past Emo Xiaochuan that his heart jolted violently. It was a bottomless vortex that devoured his divine sense the moment it passed by. He was so frightened that he did not dare to act rashly. Yunxiao gave Chu Zhang a casual glance. He was only a 7 stars Marshal Supreme, 2 stars lower than Gao Lin. He could not help but feel a little strange. This place was already part of the North region's territory, and Rain Summit City's scale and complexity far exceeded Southfire City's. Logically, they should have sent even stronger experts to guard the city, but why was their strength inferior to the guild leader of Southfire City? Mo Huayuan seemed to have read Yunxiao's mind as he secretly sent a voice transmission, "Young Master Yun, the Southern Fire City is rich in Southern Fire gold crystal mines and is an important source of income for the Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce, so the guards are stronger. The power distribution in Yufeng City is complicated, but there aren't many economic benefits. Therefore, the strength of the person in charge is slightly weaker." So it was like this. Yunxiao now understood that the distribution of power in the merchant union was indeed different from that of ordinary forces. What they were interested in was the source of profits, not the size of the city. Everyone has worked hard to come all the way here. Why don't you all take a rest in the Chamber of Commerce? Chu Zhang was all smiles as he looked at Mo Xiaochuan and said with a fawning smile, "This must be the young Master Yun that President Qian had praised endlessly in his letter, right?" All he knew was that young Master Yun was the leader of the group. At this moment, Mo Xiaochuan's strength was very much in line with what Gao Lin had said. You're the guild leader, but you've misjudged. Young Master Yun doesn't belong to the strongest person, little Xuanzi snorted coldly. Look at the most handsome person here, and that person is young Master Yun. He had been observing Yunxiao's expression all the way, trying to erase the bad impression he had in the latter's mind, but he had never had the chance. This time, he had finally stolen the limelight and came out to ingratiate himself. After doing so, he immediately felt much more comfortable in his heart and was secretly very pleased. This put Chu Zhang in a difficult position. If he recognized the wrong person again, wouldn't that mean that young Master Yun wasn't handsome? He glared at little Xuanzi resentfully, then his eyes swept over Yunxiao and Mo Huayuan. The more he looked at Mo Huayuan, the more shocked he became. He thought to himself that he had misjudged him because Mo Huayuan was by no means an ordinary person. As for Yunxiao, he looked extremely ordinary, just an ordinary 8 stars martial grandmaster. It was already an honor for someone like him to even give him a glance. However, who had been in the business world for a long time, had his own way of judging people. Mo Xiaochuan, whose abilities were unfathomable, and Mo Huayuan, who was by no means ordinary, seemed to stand on both sides of this man and follow his lead. The only woman, Mei Dong, was also sticking close to him like a little bird. Even little Xian's eyes, whether intentionally or unintentionally, couldn't hide the fear in them when he glanced at this person. Could it be that this person is? Startled, he secretly blamed Gao Lin for not telling him which one was Yunxiao. Looking at his appearance, he was indeed the most handsome among them, so he carefully asked, "Young Master Yun, are you this person?" Yunxiao looked at his nervous face and found it funny. "President Chu, you're too polite. We're very grateful to you for troubling the Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce. We don't need to rest, please take us to the inter-province transportation formation, we can't waste any more time." Chu Zhang heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. This time, he finally did not see wrongly. He smiled bitterly and said, "President Gao also stated in his letter that young Master Yun is going to Songyue City, but unfortunately, the domain teleportation formation in Yufeng City was destroyed a few days ago." What? They were all taken aback, and Yunxiao's face changed drastically as he said, "It was destroyed? How long will it take to repair it?" The martial arts and technique competition was imminent, and there was not much time to waste. Chu Zheng said, 2 groups of people fought over the order of use of the teleportation array. As a result, more than half of the array was destroyed. Now, the major forces in Yufeng City are rushing to repair it. The situation is unknown. There are already many warriors who have been teleported here from all over the world, and the population has increased by nearly half. Oh? Yunxiao asked. He couldn't tell that Rain Summit City was actually carrying so many people. It had only been out of service for a few days, but it had already accumulated so many people. Can President Chu help me inquire about the progress of the repair? All right, please wait a moment. I'll send someone to investigate. Why don't you all take a rest first? Right now it's too chaotic outside, there are violent cultivators everywhere, it's easy to start a fight if you don't agree, staying in the Chamber of Commerce is the safest. Chu Zhang called over a few maidservants and led Yunxiao and the others to their bedrooms. He was also very efficient in doing things. At the same time, he sent martial artists to inquire about the repair of the teleportation grand array. The rooms prepared by the Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce were very luxurious and exquisite. Gao Lin must have told them to do so. There was also a secret room for cultivation in the bedroom, which was very spacious. There were 100,000 mid-grade primordial stones neatly placed in the secret room. Everything was very thoughtful. However, Yunxiao was not interested in these few primordial stones now. But, although they were small, they were still meat. With a wave of his hand, he took away all the 100,000 mid-grade primordial stones. Only then did he start to cultivate in the secret room. A faint fragrance assailed his nose, making it difficult for him to calm down. Yunxiao took out the sachet given to him by Han Xian. It was originally used to calm one's mind, but now it had become an item that disturbed one's mind, making it impossible for him to cultivate in peace. When he thought about the teleportation array, he realized that if he delayed any time, it would be the same as putting Dingling to death. This was something he could not accept. At the thought of this, Yunxiao suddenly came out of his bedroom and decided to find out what was going on himself. After all, he was a 9th-tier alchemist, and with Yuan Gaohan and Mo Huayuan here, they would definitely be of great help in repairing the array. The Thunderwind Chamber of Commerce's status in Yufeng City was far inferior to that in Southfire City. It was basically equivalent to a mid-tier power. The Chamber of Commerce's location wasn't in the city center, but rather in the western corner. After all, Yufeng City wasn't the Chamber of Commerce's main interest, so they could just set up a branch there. When Yunxiao came outside, he saw Mei Dong on the road, and she was walking along the road with great familiarity. On a whim, Yunxiao followed them from a distance. Mei Dong walked through a few streets and arrived at the bustling city center. She stopped in front of a restaurant, raised her head, and looked at it before walking in. In the span of a few breaths, Yunxiao arrived at the bottom of the restaurant. He saw a plaque hanging on it, with the words, "Plum fragrance in the cold," written on it. The cold has the fragrance of plum? Interesting. Yunxiao chuckled and followed him in. To be able to open a restaurant in a busy city like Yufeng City, one's background was definitely not simple. It was true that a large number of martial artists had gathered in Yufeng City. The restaurant had 3 floors, and it was almost full. But, to Yunxiao's surprise, Mei Dong was nowhere to be seen. Unless he used a secret art to escape, but it was impossible to do so under Yunxiao's nose. There was only one explanation. Mei Dong was very familiar with this restaurant and had left from the back of the kitchen. He looked in the direction of the kitchen and walked over. Just as he reached the door, his pupils shrank and he suddenly retreated. An angry shout came from the kitchen, and then a saber beam shot out from the inside. It streaked across Yunxiao's side and cut a big hole in the wall of the restaurant. This immediately caused everyone in the restaurant to stop making a ruckus and look over. Although everyone was shocked, no one was afraid. They were all martial artists with cultivation. They had all stayed for a few days, waiting to be teleported away. Although the saber flare was powerful, it did not strike fear into their hearts. At this moment, an old woman's cold voice came from the kitchen, "You're not worthy." Immediately after that, the sound of 2 people fighting could be heard. Then, a shadow flew out from inside, with blood splattering in the air. It was obviously the defeated person. Yunxiao's pupils constricted. He stepped forward, gently rubbed the shadow's slender waist, and then carried it down. "Ah, young Master Yun." The figure cried out in surprise and looked at Yunxiao in disbelief. It was Mei Dong. She did not seem to care about her injury at all. Instead, she said nervously, "Why are you here?" Yunxiao straightened her body, then let go of her hand and said, "I happened to see you on the streets, so I followed you out of curiosity." "Someone actually injured you. It seems that the old woman inside is very fierce. Do you need my help?" Mei Dong's face had long turned red from embarrassment as he massaged her waist. She shook her head repeatedly and said, "No, don't. This is my own problem, I can solve it myself." The old woman's sharp and sarcastic voice came from the kitchen. She shouted, "She didn't learn anything, but she learned to find men. What a natural slut. Take your man and get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing him as well." Mei Dong stomped her feet in anger and embarrassment. So many people in the hall were looking at them, wishing there was a hole in the ground to hide in. Yunxiao's eyes flickered with a sharp gleam as he stared coldly into the kitchen and sneered, "You really won't die if you don't seek your own death." He left Mei Dong behind and walked towards the kitchen.